Hey, shalom, brothers. All praises to YAHAWASHI. This is your brother Ithun. Double honors to the apostles. And shalom to you brothers and sisters out there that are members of the elect. It's December 5th, right about now. And I would like to do a quick video here. And this video is about going into 2 Corinthians, the 8th chapter, the 10th chapter, and Revelation, the 2nd chapter, regarding eating unto idols, being that we just so-called Thanksgiving just went by a couple days ago. And these scriptures are relevant to that holiday and any other so-called holidays here on this side that you may be invited to, which here in America, they're all pagan holidays, and all these so-called holidays were also worshipped, as well as different other holidays and different ceremonies in the Roman Empire, which were totally pagan and opposite to the scriptures. And this is a sit-down that, as you can see here, on November 8th, live reaction. Hassad sits down with Vocab Malone, Sakari, and this was forwarded to me. And yeah, so this so I'm gonna try to refrain from calling anybody names, but Sakari, he goes into the breakdown into eating of things offered unto idols, and he totally breaks it down incorrectly. And basically what he's saying, and what he has said out of his own mouth in this video, is that Paul's teachings contradict YAHAWASHI, because Paul did not know what he's talking about. He did not have all the books as we have now today, from Genesis to Revelation. He didn't have all of them, so he spoke certain things and then changed his mind later, or he said some things which are contradictory to YAHAWASHI's teachings. And one of the things that he brought out as proof is that Paul said it's okay to eat things offered unto idols if you want to, but YAHAWASHI said not to, and that if, and pursuant to Revelation, the 2nd chapter, and if you do partake in so-called Thanksgiving or any of those so-called holidays that you may be invited to, or partake of the food, that you're going to die, which is totally incorrect, and is basically a fatal mistake and a fatal flaw for somebody who's supposedly a high priest and well scripted in the scriptures. This is this is novice material. I actually, to be honest with you. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm gonna play what he said, and then I'm gonna go into the scriptures and just break it down. And this is because the scriptures say what? That we must teach sound doctrine, right? And even tells you that, in the book of Ezekiel, it talks about these teachings like a sound, like a song. Now, when you're in a band and you're playing instruments, if somebody is off, somebody who knows how the tune goes, if there's one piece instrument that's off, somebody with a good ear is gonna hear it and is gonna be like, "Yo, you're playing this shit all fucked up." So, that's us. All right, this guy's playing the instrument the wrong way. So let me play it. And I'm not getting on the dude per se. I'm defending the gospel. I'm defending the scriptures. He broke it down incorrect. And so through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, I'm going to break it down correctly as it was taught to myself.
18-23. Let's see what YAHAWASHI said about eating food offered unto idols. Read.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 18. It says, and unto
you have to project because we on this mic.
My bad.
Yeah.
And unto the angel of the church in Thyatira, write, these things saith the Son of God, who hath his eyes like a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass.
There's another color scripture for you. Go ahead.
And I know thy works in charity and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first.
Mm-hmm.
Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee.
So YAHAWASHI has something against this church. What does he have against this church? Read.
Because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants.
Okay, so how is she teaching and seducing the servants? Read.
To commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
And so what?
Eat things sacrificed unto idols.
So YAHAWASHI has this against this church, that they're eating things sacrificed to idols, which Paul just said is not a big deal. Read.
And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not.
Read on.
Behold, I will cast her into a bed,
Uh-huh.
and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation.
Read on.
Except they repent of their deeds.
Repent of eating food sacrificed to idols and fornication. Read.
And I will kill her children.
I will what?
Kill her children
Uh-huh.
with death.
Read on.
And all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts.
See that? So he's going to kill people for eating food sacrificed to idols. He's going to kill people for eating Thanksgiving dinner. He's going to kill people for eating Easter ham, for eating Christmas dinner, damn it, for eating with they got damn Buddha propped up in the damn place. He's going to kill people for that, man. Right? That's what Yahawashi said. So that's another instance where Paul, so how can Paul have full apostolic authority, meaning speak as God, speak as the Most High, when he can't even get straight and get on par with what Yahawashi is teaching?
All right, so that's what you call matter of fact. Right quick. Since I mentioned it, I know I spelled it wrong. Here we go. Alrighty. First, 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come, we're in that time right now. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall heap themselves teachers having itching ears. Okay? Now in the book of Titus it says this: speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. Now what this man just said over here is not sound doctrine. So let's go and break it down correctly the way he should have broke it down. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 8, and I'm just going to run through these scriptures. Now 1 Corinthians 8 and 1. Now let me add some context to this. So a lot of the stuff that in the New Testament that Paul spoke about, Paul went into a lot of issues which were like day-to-day issues that you may face as an Israelite man. Trials, tribulations, the hardships you're gonna face, dealing with women, dealing with different issues, dealing with brothers, how to squash beef, like just stuff, that you deal with every day. And he had to, because you had the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners, then you had the brothers who knew they were Israelites, then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and then you had a bunch of other sects, just like you have here in America, a bunch of different religious sects. He gave advice on how to deal with these different things. All right, so what was going on here? Now, back in Rome, just like you have today, you have the meat markets, right? Today we have supermarkets. Back then they had meat markets. Now, especially around the time of when there would be ceremonies, the heathens would have ceremonies, or Jakes. When I say heathens, I'm talking about Israelite foreigners. I'm talking about heathens. All right, they would have meat left over. Not them themselves, but actually them themselves would have some meat left over. The ones who would actually do the ceremony, they would have little courtyards in the backyard and all that shit, groves or whatever, and they would have these ceremonies. And what would happen is that these people, or the priests, right, would have leftover meat, because the priests would get meat offerings from the people that were attending these different ceremonies. So what they would do is they would take these meats that were used in these ceremonies, and they would sell them to the dealers at the meat markets, because it would be too much for their household or too much that they can handle. So they would sell them on the meat markets. And so what a lot of brothers would do is they would go to the meat markets and they would buy these meats. And these meats would be meats. Some of the meat was not used in the ceremonies, but a lot of the meat was. And maybe it was cheaper. I don't know the situation, but a lot of this meat was meat that was used or offered unto idols. So a lot of these brothers would either buy these meats on a meat market, or they would be invited. They may have a friend, just like you got a friend in the world that would invite you to so-called Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner or so-called Christmas dinner. Same thing happened back in Rome. You see? So there would be little discrepancies. But the thing is, the brothers that are a little deeper in the knowledge, and Paul's going to go into it, I'm going to read in a second, but I'm just setting it up, is that brothers that were deeper in the faith, or have the faith was stronger, they would understand that, look, if I go to this dinner, fuck their idol, whatever idol they're worshiping. I know that this food comes from YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. The lamb, chicken, whatever the hell the meat was, as long as it wasn't abominable, pork, shellfish, all that crap. We know that anything that was put on that table came from YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. For soon as Zechariah 14 and 9, he's the only power. All right? So all that meat came from him. So when you sit down at the table and you eat the meat, you give all praises to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. Okay? So let's read this. 1 Corinthians 8:1, and I'm going to read quickly. Now, as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. So Paul was talking to who? The church of Corinth. Okay? So these are brothers that were in the know, whose faith was built pretty strong. Okay? That's why I said we know that we all have knowledge. All right? So it says, if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. Okay? But if any man love the Most High, the same is known of him. Verse 4, as concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, right? An idol has no breath. Idol has no power. And that there is none other but the other power but one, Yahweh. All right? Why YAHAWASHI? Verse 5, for though there be that are called gods, Zeus, all them different gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us, the Israelites, there is but one power, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord, YAHAWASHI, by whom are all things, and we by him. Verse 7, howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge, right? Like a brother that just came in the truth, his faith is weak, right? Or it may even be an outsider that's outside of Israel, and here you're talking about pagan holidays and this and that, and they may see you go eat so-called Thanksgiving dinner. So that's somebody without the knowledge. So it says, howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. So yeah, you got some brothers, and maybe some new brothers, that they're not disposed to go eat so-called Thanksgiving dinner, like probably all of us when we first came into truth, when our faith, when our faith was still being built up. To us, that was a thing that would highly offend the Most High. So we didn't go, because why? We didn't want our conscience to be defiled. All right, verse 8. But meat commendeth us not to the Most High, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. Right. So you sitting down and eating a piece of lamb is not it's not like it's not like your worship. That's not synonymous to worshiping the Most High. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't add anything, to your resume. Or the Most High, like the Most High, he ate lamb. He ate a nice lamb dinner on December 5th, 2019. So you know what? Let's make him part of the elect. No, it doesn't work that way. It says, but meat commendeth us not to the Most High, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. So if a brother is like, you know what, man, I don't feel comfortable, I don't think the Most High is with that, me going to eat so-called Thanksgiving dinner, then he's not any better than a brother that say, you know what, I know that turkey came from the Most High, okay? I could have went and bought the shit myself and ate at home. It's the same thing as me going to my neighbor's house and eating the meat, because I'm going to praise YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI the same way I do at home, right? So not one is better than the other. They're both going according to where their faith is at. Verse 9 says, but take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. Verse 10, for if any man see thee which have knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? Right. So let me read verse 11. And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, from whom YAHAWASHI died? Right, exactly. So basically what that's saying is, look, if it's going to offend your brother to go eat a Thanksgiving dinner, then don't do it, okay? For his sake, okay? And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Yahawashi died. So that brother maybe look at you, man, he's a hypocrite. He's talking all that stuff. And he's going to eat a Thanksgiving dinner. If it's in that situation, then you may want to refrain from that for that brother's sake, for his conscience sake. Okay? Verse 12. For when ye sin, verse 12, for when ye sin so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Yahawashi. Verse 13. Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Right? So if going to that so-called Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, if that's going to destroy your brother, then you know what? You'd rather keep that brother's faith intact than to go and defend him. That's what Paul is saying. Now let's go to verse 10. Excuse me, 1 Corinthians 10. Let me jump down to... Let me start at 24. Verse 23. It says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Right? Meaning, look, Paul gave a lot of advice, like I said in the beginning, gave a lot of advice, but some of it is not law. You know, some of it is his personal advice for the edification of the church and from his own experiences, what works and what doesn't work. So, for example, Paul said it's better to not have a woman. Okay? He said it's better not to have a woman, but if you burn, go ahead and get you a woman. Get you a girl. You're not going off. But women do distract you from the truth. The scriptures say that women are of the world, and any man that has a wife, he's going to have half his foot in the world, so to speak, you know, to please his woman. So he's going to have to do things to please his woman. Not that he's in the world, but, you know, he's going to have to go in and out of the matrix for the sake of pleasing his woman. So Paul was like, you know what? It's better not to have a woman at all so he could focus 100% towards the truth. But if a brother gets himself a girl, is he going off? No, because it's expedient for Paul, but it's not a law. In other words, it works for him, but it may not work for the next brother. Get it? Verse 24. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. So when you make moves, think about your brother. Is it going to offend him? Is it going to hurt him? Okay. Verse 25. Whatsoever is sold in shambles that eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Verse 26. For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Repeating what he said in 1 Corinthians 8. Verse 27. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, all right, like I said in another video, your mom, your girl, anybody, your somebody out in the world, if they invite you to Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, and you be disposed to go, you're like, hey, you know what, I ain't got shit to do, why not? You know, I can save me some money, whatever. Whatsoever said before you eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Okay? And the only thing you want to stay away from is if it's pork, shellfish, you know, you follow the dietary laws. Other than that, anything else is game. Mac and cheese, you know, collard greens, sweet potatoes, candy yams, the turkey, whatever. Verse 28. But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So in other words, again, if it's going to offend your brother, or if it's going to offend the church, you know, like this guy's going to make a video talking about, you know, we pagan food. In other words, you know, you got to add wisdom to the situation, to where you at. You know, nowadays it's more so accepted than it was back then. So you can go to your family so-called dinner and, you know, not be a big deal. But if it is going to be a big deal as far as offending the church or the brotherhood, then, you know, make the right choice, you know. Verse 29, conscience, I say, not thy own, but of the other, right? So the brother might be offended, but you're good. You're like, look, this comes from the Most High. I'm good. But the brother may be offended, his conscience. For why is my liberty, all right, judge of another man's conscience? Why is my liberty judge of another man's conscience? In other words, why should I refrain just because this dude got a problem with it? Verse 30, for if I by grace be a partaker, why am I even evil spoken of for that for which I gave thanks? Right, if I sat down and ate this damn turkey that the Most High created, and his candy yam and his sweet potato pie that the Most High created that comes out the ground, and I gave thanks to YAHAWASHI, Why should I be evil spoken of? Why should I listen to some dude talking about you're going to be killed for eating a turkey? Okay. Verse 32, give none offense neither to the Jews nor the Gentiles nor to the church of the Most High. Reiterating what I said earlier. If it's better not to do it for not offending, then don't do it. Verse 33, even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many that they may be saved. Okay, now let's jump to Revelation 2, where Sakari claims that Paul was a hypocrite, basically. Went against the teachings of Yahawashi because supposedly, I guess, since he's a high priest, he's got more understanding than Paul. This is Revelation, the 2nd chapter. And let me see. All right, so first I'm going to start at verse 14, right? Let me start at verse 1 to add context. Revelation chapter 2, verse 1. The angel of the Lord, the angel of the church of Ephesus, write, these things saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, Yahawashi. But I'm going to jump down. Verse 4, nevertheless I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Okay. Verse 6, I'm just jumping around, brothers, for the sake of not making this too long. But so basically, this church was doing, a lot of things right, but there are certain things that they were doing that Yahawashi hated. Okay. So verse 6, but this thou hast, thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. Now the Nicolaitans, as you will call them today, it's an actual religious sect that still exists today, and they believe in something, I forgot what it's called, but basically they believe that you don't need to follow the laws of the Most High because of grace, that you could do basically whatever you want because of grace. And so that church would involve a lot of promiscuous actions, sexual perversion. Okay. Let me jump down. Let me jump down. Now we're going to jump down to the point. Okay, verse 14, right? Verse 13, matter of fact. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, Yahawashi. Even in those days where Antipas was my faithful martyr, whom was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. So throughout persecution, they held on. Verse 14, but I have a few things against thee, because Yahawashi requires what? A thing called perfection. Okay, so when you teach this truth, you have to teach it in what? Perfection. But I have a few things against thee, because I was there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, okay, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. Was that talking about Thanksgiving dinner and all that? I'll tell you what it's talking about. Now, when you go back to this period of Balak and Balaam, matter of fact, I have it here somewhere, I think. So basically, you brothers know the story about Balaam. Balaam basically concocted an evil plan. He concocted an evil plan to take Israel down, because he knew that he could not. And this is right after this happened. We're going to go into the story briefly. It's in First King. No. Excuse me. It's right here in Numbers. Right? In Numbers, he devised an evil plan to send the women, his women, I believe they were Moabite women, the Midianite women, okay, to the congregation of Israel. Now, these were sexy ass women, and they were highly instructed in the art of today what they would call Kama Sutra, right? And basically, they were used to make the men of Israel go off, and the way they were going off is, it doesn't go into it, but it was sexual perversion. So they're probably having orgies and doing all types of other shit that the Most High is not with. So let's go straight to the point. Now, this is verse 16. This is Numbers 31 to 16. It says, behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. Okay? And Peor was what? He was an idol. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now, Yeah, now there was a plague in the congregation of the Lord. So because of this act, the sexual perversion and his worship in the Baal Peor, through these women, okay, that was sent, because what happened is the Israelite men, when they went to war, they took the women as hostages, right? They took the women as hostages, and these women, they worship what? Baal. And so these women seduced these men into worshiping Baal. And what comes with that is what? Eating detestable things like pork, okay, and things that the Most High said not to eat. And they would literally sit there and offer this shit up to their idols. And these men would take part in that, okay. So when the Lord said here in Revelation, the 2nd chapter, it said, boom, 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 boom. Verse 14, but I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication, all right, which was spiritual and physical fornication. You see? It says, verse 15, so hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of Nicolaitans, which things I hate. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, I know I'm saying it incorrectly, but that doctrine was basically lawlessness, to do anything that you want. Okay. So it was sexual perversion. It was eating pork, eating whatever. Because their belief is what? We have grace, so you can basically do whatever you want. And the way they brought this into this church was what? Was through the women. That's why the Spirit got on the Apostle Tahar to say, look, in GMS, no women in the congregation, because what? They bring forth what? Disorder, they bring forth chaos. Okay? And from experience and from history, they seduce men into false doctrines. Now, let's read down some more. Okay, I'm going to go jump down to 20. Verse 19. I know thy works in charity and service and faith and thy patience and thy works and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce, okay, my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. So what she did is she got these men to go off and to actually sacrifice unto idols. So what she was talking about here is different from what Paul was talking about, completely different. These men were actually eating and sacrificing unto idols. They did not sit down in front of a table with a turkey and said, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, give me this food for me to eat, and giving all praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. They were eating and sacrificing, giving praise to Baal Peor, as I mentioned up in verse 14, okay, and these other different doctrines. And through this woman Jezebel, she just seduced them to go off. Now, it's funny that the woman is called Jezebel, because if you go back in history, in our history, right, Ahab, do I have here? Ahab, right, verse 31. This is 1 Kings 16 and 31. Now Ahab, which is the seventh king of Israel, okay, he was more wicked than any king before him. And this is what he did, verse 31. And it came to pass, as it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshiped him. You see? So this is why that woman in Revelation was referred to as Jezebel, because she was doing the exact same thing as here. She was having those boys go off, those men in that church of Ephesus. She had them going off, and they went and they were serving Baal Peor, and they were worshiping him. And when they were sacrificing to Baal Peor. So they were actually eating things offered unto idols. If you read verse 32, and he reared up an altar for Baal in a house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord power to Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that went before him. Okay. Now it said that it says right here that Ahab he took Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbal, king of the Zidonians. Now, when you read about the Zidonians, they were Hamites. Okay. And they're Hamites, and they come from I believe the Zidonians, actually, I'm sorry, the Zidonians that come from Canaan, okay, one of the sons of Canaan, and those are the Zidonians. And as you know, I believe in Leviticus 18, the Most High broke down everything the Canaanites were doing. They were sacrificing to idols, they were into sexual perversion, they were into sacrificing their children, okay, up to Baal. So this woman Jezebel in the book of Revelation, she was leading and seducing these men into that way. So that's why Yahawashi was vehemently going against them. And this is actually the same mistake that that King Solomon made. If we go to 1 Kings, right, 11:1, it said, "But King Solomon loved many strange women, heathenistic women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites." Oh, there goes the Zidonians again, Jezebel. Okay. And remember, King Solomon was Yahawashi. So Yahawashi knew exactly what those men were getting into with Jezebel in Revelation 2, because he actually experienced it himself. Okay, Zidonians and Hittites, verse 2. "Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their powers. Solomon clave unto these in love." So this is what Yahawashi was looking to prevent here in Revelation 2. This is why he said this, excuse me, verse 20, "Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols." So do you understand that now? Okay. "Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in unto them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn your heart away after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love." Okay. Now us today, under the protection of Yahawashi and in the faith of Yahawashi, basically what Paul was saying was that, look, if you get invited to one of these feasts, and on the table there's food that you can eat, and they say, "Hey man, take whatever the hell you want," and you sit down, you grab the food, and you say, "All praises to Yahawashi," you're not going off. All right? As long as you don't sit there and say, "Oh, I would like to thank Jesus Christ for this food," you better not be saying that shit, because then you are going off. Because now you are sacrificing unto an idol. You're giving thanks to an idol. You should be giving thanks to Yahawashi. So if you read down verse 21, "And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not." Verse 22, "Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her in great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts. And I will give unto every one of you according to their works." Okay, so I hope you brothers have more understanding of 1 Corinthians 8:10 and also Revelation, the 2nd chapter, to know what it is talking about. And we went through the scriptures to back it up. We went to the history quickly. You brothers can look more into it if you want. You can make more videos on it. And this video here, you see the title here, okay? And the point where he starts talking this crazy stuff is about 1:45. But you could go back to 1 minute and 30 minutes, or even before that, to where he starts really, starts bugging out. Yeah, so I haven't watched this whole video. Brother sent me a clip. I just jumped right to it. And yeah, brother. So with that, I'm gonna say all praises Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Shalom.